Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Who will win the Chelsea-Manchester United game? Chelsea, Man United, or will it be a draw? This will be an extremely difficult game for Manchester United. Chelsea are playing really well. They've only lost one game in the league so far this season. Chelsea are coming into this game on the back of a 4-0 win against Juventus in the Champions League. Chelsea won their last league game against Leicester 3-0. Chelsea have got a very good manager in Thomas Tuchel. Last season at Chelsea, he won the Champions League. He also got Chelsea to the FA Cup final last season, but Chelsea lost the final to Leicester. Tuchel has been Chelsea manager for almost a year. He's got a contract with Chelsea until 2024. Before Chelsea, he was at PSG. He did well there. Before PSG, he was at Borussia Dortmund. And before then, he was at Mainz 05. Before Tuchel, Chelsea had Frank Lampard. Chelsea sacked Frank Lampard last season after like 18 months in charge. Lampard is a Chelsea legend. He's Chelsea's all-time leading goal scorer with 211 goals. Before Lampard, Chelsea had Maurizio Sarri. He only lasted a season with Chelsea. But Maurizio Sarri, when he was Chelsea manager, he won the Europa League. He also got Chelsea to the League Cup final. I think Sarri should have been given a bit more time. Before then, Chelsea had Antonio Conte. Conte did win the Premier League in his first season at Chelsea. But despite that, Chelsea still ended up sacking him. Conte is now the manager of Tottenham. Don't forget, my club, Manchester United, tried to get him. And before, Chelsea had Jose Mourinho. Mourinho endured 2 spells with Chelsea. He did well in his first spell, won back-to-back Premier League titles, but he wasn't so good in his second spell. Of course, Chelsea sacked Mourinho. And before, Chelsea had Di Matteo. I think they also sacked him. At one point, they had Gus Hiddink. I think they also sacked him. Before as well, they had Rafa Benitez as interim manager. I think Chelsea ended up sacking him. Before, they had Villas-Boas. They sacked him. A while ago, they had Carlo Ancelotti as well. They won the Premier League and FA Cup under Ancelotti, but they still sacked him. Chelsea must have sacked around 12 or 13 managers since Roman Abramovich bought the club. And Chelsea have got a good team. Obviously, they've got Christian Pulisic. Chelsea got him from Borussia Dortmund. He'll be in contention to play in this game. I'm hearing that Liverpool want Pulisic in January. Chelsea are demanding around £43 million. Chelsea have also got Kai Havertz. He's a good player. Chelsea got him from Bayer Leverkusen. He was recently out with injury. I think he's back now. So he'll be in contention to play in this game. Chelsea have obviously got Romelu Lukaku. They re-signed Lukaku last summer, and he's made an impact since he re-signed for Chelsea. I think he was out with injury not so long ago. If Lukaku plays in the game tomorrow, he'll be reuniting with Manchester United. You know, Lukaku is a former United player. Man United had Lukaku for around 2 years. He did well. I thought we made a mistake getting rid of him. We did get Lukaku from Everton back in 2017 in a deal worth 90 million. Man United paid like 75 million up front. There was 15 million in add-ons. And then obviously Man United sold him to Inter Milan, and then he went to Chelsea from Inter Milan. Chelsea have also got Timo Werner. He has improved recently, but he has not done as well as a lot of Chelsea fans expected. You know, Chelsea got Timo Werner from RB Leipzig. I think he'll be in contention to play tomorrow. Chelsea have also got Callum Hudson-Odoi. You know, he's a decent young player. They've also got Mason Mount. That's very, very good. You know, still young, got a lot of development in him. They've also got Ruben Loftus-Cheek. That's good. Wasn't he at Fulham on loan at one point? And Chelsea have also got that Reece James. He's a very good young player. Reece James is predominantly a right back. I think there's a good chance he'll be involved in this game tomorrow. Chelsea have got N'Golo Kante. I highly rate him. I think he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Chelsea got Kante from Leicester. He won the Premier League when he was a Leicester player, and he's also won the Premier League as a Chelsea player. Kante, I think, has got an injury at the moment. Chelsea have also got Kovacic. I don't really rate him. He's out with injury. Chelsea have also got Jorginho. I think Chelsea did get him from Napoli. I think he's done well recently, but I still don't highly rate him. They've also got that Christensen Chelsea, who I don't really rate. They've got Saul Niguez. They got Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid last summer. They brought him in on loan. If you do remember rightly, Manchester United tried to get Saul Niguez. Of course, Chelsea have got Ben Chilwell. He's a left back. Chelsea got him from Leicester. Chelsea have done very good business with Leicester in recent years. Ben Chilwell, by the way, is out with injury. Chelsea have also got Marco Alonso. I think he's another left back. I do rate him. You know, Chelsea have got Rudiger. He's a very, very good centre-half. Before, there was a lot of fans that didn't rate Rudiger, but I highly rate him. Chelsea have also got Thiago Silva and Milan Sarr. They've also got Azpilicueta. They've got Hakim Ziyech. You know, he's also very, very good. They brought him in back in February 2020. They brought him in under Lampard Ziyech. So obviously Tuchel is inheriting some players that obviously Frank Lampard brought in. Chelsea's number one goalkeeper now is Mendy. And obviously Chelsea have got Arrizabalaga. He's their second choice goalkeeper. And they've also got that Bettinelli, who they got from Fulham last summer. So there you go. Pretty decent squad. I think Chelsea Football Club made a mistake getting rid of Eden Hazard, because I thought Eden Hazard was very good when he was at Chelsea. He was a long-serving player when he was at Chelsea. He endured 7 years with them. You know, but since he's gone to Real Madrid, he has been a flop as Hazard. Don't forget, a few years ago as well, Chelsea had a transfer ban for tapping around young players. So there you go. Manchester United are coming into this game on the back of a 2-0 win against Villarreal. The goals against Villarreal came from Cristiano Ronaldo, and we saw Jadon Sancho score his first goal for the club. Reflecting on the win against Villarreal, Manchester United qualified for the last 16 of the Champions League with still one game to spare in the group stage. I give Michael Carrick a lot of credit against Villarreal because I liked the way he approached the game. I thought his game plan was correct and his substitutions were correct. Manchester United lost their last league game to Watford 4-1, and that's what obviously ended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure. Man United have lost 5 of the last 7 in the Premier League. Michael Carrick is obviously going to be in charge for this game against Chelsea tomorrow. Obviously it's his first league game in charge as the interim manager. Ralf Rangnick will be in charge of Manchester United for the first time against Arsenal. Manchester United play Arsenal next Thursday at Old Trafford. Manchester United have reached an agreement with Lokomotiv Moscow for Ralf Rangnick to become the interim manager until the end of the season. Then it said he will take up a consultancy role for 2 years. Rangnick is the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. He's got a pretty good pedigree behind him. Before he managed Schalke, he won the German Cup with Schalke back in 2011. He also got Schalke to the Champions League semi-final, and before he managed RB Leipzig, and he got RB Leipzig to the final back in 2019. So there you go, and at the end of the season, Manchester United will look to appoint a permanent manager, and it'll be either Pochettino or Erik ten Hag. Now, Manchester United have got some players missing for this game against Chelsea tomorrow. Obviously, there's no Harry Maguire. He's suspended. You know, Maguire got sent off in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. I think Maguire has got a 3-match ban. There's no Rafael Varane. He's out with a hamstring injury. I think he's out for another 2 to 3 weeks. It's the second injury Varane has endured at Man United, because earlier on this season Varane had a groin injury and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. Obviously there's no Paul Pogba. Pogba's out for the rest of the year with a thigh injury. He suffered the thigh injury in France training earlier on this season. Luke Shaw, I'm not too sure if he's going to be involved in this game. Luke Shaw has been out with a head injury. He got the head injury in the 4-1 defeat to Watford last week. Obviously, Luke Shaw didn't play against Villarreal. Obviously, Telles started ahead of him. Cavani, he's out with injury until December, as you all know. He was out with injury earlier on this season. So they're the injuries Man United have got. And obviously Mason Greenwood's not available because he's out with COVID. Manchester United have not got a good record at Stamford Bridge. Manchester United once went 8 years without winning at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. So we seldom win there. This fixture last season at Stamford Bridge was 0-0 in the league. Also, the game at Old Trafford was 0-0. This morning, I gave you the news on Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag is said to be interested in the Manchester United job, and Ajax will not stand in his way if he wants to leave at the end of the season. Erik ten Hag is Manchester United's alternative target if Man United cannot get Mauricio Pochettino. Erik ten Hag, you've got to admire what he's done at Ajax. He's been Ajax manager for 4 years. He's won a few trophies with them. I like the way he develops young players. You know, he's got a contract with Ajax until 2023. Before Ajax, he was at Utrecht. Before then, he managed Bayern Munich's reserve team. And before then, he managed Go Ahead Eagles. As for Pochettino, it said earlier on this week that PSG rejected Manchester United's move to appoint Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino's already said that he's so happy at PSG and will not let the Man United rumours distract him. Revert back to earlier on this week though, he said Pochettino was interested in the Manchester United job, and the Manchester Evening News came out and said that Man United are confident of appointing Mauricio Pochettino as the next permanent manager, and it also mentioned that Man United agreed to pay the 10 million compensation fee for Pochettino. Revert back to when Manchester United sacked Mourinho. Manchester United should have got Pochettino then, but obviously the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. I do think Pochettino is a good manager, even though he's hardly won anything. You know, Pochettino is proven in the Premier League as well, which is beneficial, because before he managed Tottenham, he enjoyed a 5.5-year tenure with Tottenham, and analysing the vast majority of his tenure when he was at Tottenham, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4. You know, back in 2018, Pochettino guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final, and Pochettino was close to winning the Premier League when he was Tottenham manager. And before he managed Southampton, he only enjoyed a short tenure with them, but he still did well at Southampton. He still managed to guide Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League. So they're the clubs he's managed in the Premier League so far, and before he's managed Espanyol. Pochettino has got a full season left on his PSG contract, as you know. I think he's won a cup with PSG. Brendan Rodgers, obviously, he has been spoken about, but I've disregarded Brendan Rodgers coming to Manchester United because not so long ago it said Brendan Rodgers dismissed links to Man United, as he's proud to be at Leicester, but Man United contacted Brendan Rodgers. Earlier on this season, Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire, so that stirred some suggestions up, and at that point, he said Rodgers was the favourite to replace Solskjaer. And Zinedine Zidane, you know, he was linked with a managerial role at Man United, but obviously not so long ago, Zidane come out and said that he's not interested in taking over at Manchester United, as he doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment. Obviously, Zidane has made contact with PSG. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. Of course, Man United sacked David Moyes, sacked Louis van Gaal, sacked Jose Mourinho, and of course last Sunday morning, Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. You know, you have got very, very good players at Manchester United. Obviously, you've got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, Ronaldo recently scored against Villarreal, and what a goal that was as well from Ronaldo. Lovely chip over the Villarreal goalkeeper, but his goal came from a poor clearance from the Villarreal goalkeeper. He could have had a couple of more goals in that 2-0 win against Villarreal. You know, you've also got Greenwood as well, that's a talented player. You've got Sancho, that's a good player. Sancho put a very good performance out against Villarreal. His best game for Manchester United so far. You know, Sancho scored his first goal for the club. Hopefully now he can persist with them performances. You know, we might start to get the best out of him now that Ollie's no longer here, because under Solskjaer, you know, when Solskjaer decided to play Sancho, he played him out of position, but there again, there was quite a few games that he didn't even play in. You know, you've got Marcus Rashford, that's a good player as well. I thought Rashford made an impact when he came on against Villarreal, had a good chance from a tight angle, produced a good save from the Villarreal goalkeeper. And you've also got Bruno Fernandes, that's also a very good player, but he has had poor games this season, unfortunately. But I thought he made an impact when he came on in the 2-0 win against Villarreal. You know, Fernandes got the assist for Sancho's goals. You know, you've got Cavani, that's also good as well. Like I said, he's not available at the moment because he's out with injury. You've also got Donny van de Beek, that's a good player as well, and I'm hopeful from now on that Van de Beek will get the opportunities he has been demanding, because under Ollie, you know, Van de Beek did not get enough opportunities, and reflecting on that, he was frustrated. You know, Van de Beek started ahead of Fernandes in that number 10 against Villarreal, and Van de Beek put a very good performance out. He made an instant impact when he came on in the 4-1 defeat to Watford, you know, because he scored in that game. That was only his second goal, though, for the club. If he was to get his opportunities from now on, that could persuade Van de Beek to stay at the club. But towards the end of Solskjaer's managerial tenure, Van de Beek confirmed that he wants to leave Man United in January. And you've also got Paul Pogba, that's a good player as well. Not only a good player, he's an imperative player. Pogba did enjoy a good start to the Premier League season. Pogba's got 7 assists so far in the league. He produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season. Revert back to what I said before though, Pogba may never be playing for the football club again, because Pogba is out with injury for the rest of the year. And revert back to earlier on this season, he said Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for him in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. And you've got Luke Shaw, that's a good left back as well, but Luke Shaw's certainly not proven how good he can be this season. Luke Shaw's been terrible this season. I'm shocked in that aspect because last season Luke Shaw was superb. So where is the Luke Shaw from last season? I'm sure at some point Luke Shaw will regain his form. Revert back to what I mentioned earlier, he's got a head injury at the moment. I also believe that Telles is a good player, but Telles doesn't really get in the team a lot. You know, Telles will only play when Luke Shaw's not available. You know, obviously Telles played against Villarreal. Will be in contention to play in this one if Luke Shaw's not available. Telles put a very good performance out against Villarreal, to his credit. Telles was out with injury earlier on this season. The reason we brought Telles in was to provide competition for Shaw. And you've obviously got Harry Maguire, that's a good centre-half as well when he wants to be, but he hasn't really proven how good of a centre-half he can be at Manchester United, because he has been inconsistent in a lot of games. There again, he's had some good games, but Maguire's been terrible this season. He really, really has, and he's been even worse since he came back from that calf injury. Towards the end of last season, Maguire had ligament damage in his ankle, Maguire is suspended, like I said earlier, so he won't be playing in this game tomorrow. Like I said, it'll be buying Lindelof at the back. You've got Varane, that's a good centre-half as well. Before he got the injuries, I thought he had some good games, but he had a couple of games where he looked off the pace. You've got Eric Bailly, that's a decent centre-half as well, but Bailly doesn't get regular game time, does he? He's only made 3 appearances so far this season. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, obviously with the signing of Varane in the summer transfer window. And obviously Lindelof's been preferred to Bailly. Don't ask me why, because Bailly is a far superior centre-half to Lindelof. My only element of concern about Bailly is injury prone. And you've got Bissaka, that's good defensively, but the attacking side of his game is not so good, and he has to improve the attacking side of his game, and I think his position's got to improve a bit more, and his crossing has to improve a bit more. There again, I thought Bissaka put a good performance out against Villarreal recently. And you've got David De Gea, that's also a very, very good goalkeeper. De Gea's done really, really well this season. De Gea did well in the 2-0 win against Villarreal. He produced some world-class saves. He also did well in the 4-1 defeat to Watford last weekend. Even though we lost 4-1, De Gea saved 2 penalties from Ismaila Sarr, and he also made some other good saves in the game. So there you go. We've got some very, very good players. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.